Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has quite a few beat-em-ups in its history, some that actually influenced the genre significantly, so I figured it would be good to look at, the latest entry in the game series. Not that it was developed by the same people as the others, of course.
Ugh. Dog Pound did this. Come on, let's get after him.
He's getting away!
Move it, people!
I'm a huge sucker for licensed games that use their license appropriately. I just love them. But I'm not sure this game does that very well. A few cute jokes aside,
Krang's brain hurts.
the game doesn't seem to have dialogue that's as intelligently written as in the television series, even though they bothered to get the same voice actors. But that's all we're going to talk about that.
Known to Krang as inferior.
This game actually supports full 4-player co-op, and there's a bit of a competitive aspect when you play co-op because you compete for the most points. Playing single player also has its advantage though, in that switching to another turtle completely refills your health bar, so this game's not exactly difficult in the first place. As for your options of attack in this game, there actually aren't too many. There's a basic combo which can be upgraded to make it longer and stronger, and there's a special attack which can be used to break blocks and damage more enemies. I'm sure you've also noticed that I've been throwing enemies around a lot, and that's because stunned enemies can be hurled wherever you so please. You know an enemy's stunned because a giant button prompt appears above their head. I'm playing as Leo right now, who I have upgraded completely. He has the most health, the most defense, the highest combo, and he can activate his special attacks more often than the other turtles. Unlike most other TMNT beat-em-ups, the turtles in this game don't actually control very differently. They do have different super special attacks, but that's about it. There also isn't a whole lot of strategy to the combat. After you've upgraded yourself completely, you can pretty much just button mash your way through. You do have to pay attention when the enemies start glowing red, but that's because they're charging a power attack. All of this adds up to the game being really, really simplistic, which in itself isn't a bad thing, but you get the feeling it was made for a much younger audience than the TV show was. A lot of it was obviously inspired by very old beat-em-ups, but it doesn't quite have the gameplay depth of any of the earlier TMNT games. I can still respect what it was going for. It can be rather difficult to find an audience when you're making a game like this, because you don't want to alienate anyone younger, but you also don't want to make a game that's too easy or too simplistic. These enemies have shields, which means they either need to be attacked from behind or attacked with a special attack, though they're still not very hard to deal with. They also attack very infrequently and often come in small numbers. Here we've just picked up a sub-weapon, which is one of the more interesting aspects of the game.
Yeah, throwing stars up in here.
The one I've got is the stun grenade, which when thrown immediately stuns all enemies on the screen, enabling you to throw them. You can also get quite a few hits in. The stun grenade is a pretty decent sub-weapon in that it creates more combat options, but the other sub-weapons feel a bit more disconnected. And now I have an opportunity to show off one of the super specials, which attacks a very wide area of enemies. In addition to stunning absolutely everything around you, it's the easiest way to get points if you care about that sort of thing.
Stay alert, ninjas. This is the lair of the Purple Dragon Gang. Cool. I've been itching to crack some skulls. It's been at least 3 minutes or so.
Have an awkward 5-second gameplay segment.
Finally. Took you for long enough?
Karai. Well, if it isn't everyone's favorite evil Kunoichi.
Speak for yourself, Raph. She's mean.
This room right here contains all of the remaining enemy types that we have yet to see. The large enemies cannot be stunned or knocked down, and they also take many more hits, even with a fully powered up character. As such, it is also impossible to throw them, but you can throw other enemies into them. I've also begun to pick up shurikens, which come in packs of 30 and can be stacked. They don't do a lot of damage, but you can keep your distance from enemies while you use them. They tend to home in on the nearest foe. These guys with the hats are essentially the only ranged enemy, but they attack rather slow. You can see I've actually lost quite a bit of health, and that's because of the sheer volume of opponents in comparison to the rest of the game. And that's really all there is to talk about with the basic combat, because, while the simplistic mechanics aren't a problem, the game design itself isn't terribly deep. I mean, considering the very obvious low budget, it could be much worse. So let's take a look at one of the boss fights. The Shredder has a pretty basic pattern to his boss fight. He first sends out a wave of ninjas, and then he comes down to attack you himself, and it never really deviates from that.
That was totally epic.
There are also items and health pickups in the corners of the room, which makes fighting the ninjas easier, but doesn't do a whole lot to the Shredder. The Shredder himself teleports, attacks once, and then teleports again. That's his entire pattern. Sometimes he will grapple a character, like that, and we need to switch to another turtle to get him off our back, which is actually pretty neat. You do have to pay attention to which direction he's coming from and dodge quickly, so it's a decently engaging boss fight.
That sound weird?
He goes through this pattern 3 times, and he changes things up very slightly the 3rd time around, but it's nothing to worry about.
You're halfway there.
It's worth noting that this game doesn't take place anywhere specific in the TV storyline, I assume, so that way the player could get more empowerment by defeating Shredder themselves.
We did it!
Woohoo! Yes! We are awesome!
Oh no! Shredder's getting away!
Luck was on your side this day, Turtles. The next time we meet, nothing will save you.
April!
Donnie, thank you. Guys, you were amazing.
He's just... Shazam! You guys did great. Master Splinter would be proud.
I am extremely proud, my sons. You did well, but listen closely and with a grave and serious heart. You cannot rest on your laurels for even one moment. The Shredder is still out there, and the Krang are many. With steadfast determination, you must...
Party like it's 1989! Woo! Oh yeah!
Who wants victory pizza? Me? Before Mikey eats it all? Sweet! Sausage, sardine, and mayonnaise! I lucked out.
Pepperoni, chocolate sauce, peanut, and marshmallow. Delicious!
That's my Rocky Road pizza, Donnie. Sweet! It's like the ultimate booyakasha in my mouth.
Wow, great stuff!
Pizza! It's so good. That's my ninjas! Yeah!
I certainly did not train them for this.
That's what makes them unique, Master Splinter. They're not just ninjas, they're a whole new level of awesomeness.
And here's what the post-stage tally screen looks like. Also, I apologize if that cutscene was horribly awkward to watch, but it does highlight the differences between this game and the TV show quite well. Alright, so what have we got back here? I see.